All right. Good morning, Charles.
Good morning, Antoine.
Thank you very much for welcoming us here. Unfortunately, we're not in Long Dai, but it's because of me. I told you a few months ago that I would come to Long Dai, and actually we changed the schedule and everything.
No
so
problem.
you were more than happy to welcome us in Long Dai, but it seems like that it will be for next time.
Another time, you're welcome anytime.
Thank you very much. So thank you very much for welcoming us in Shanghai this time. I'm super happy to do this discussion with you. We'll talk about a lot of things because you have a crazy experience in China and about Chinese wines in general. But before that, can you start by introducing yourself?
Absolutely. So I'm Charles Treutenaere, and I'm the general manager of Domaine de Long Dai in Shandong province in Penglai. So I started the adventure with DBR Lafite, Domaine Baron de Rothschild Lafite in 1918. And we opened the winery, the Domaine in 2018 and 2019, in September. And now this is the 6th year of the existence of Domaine de Long Dai. And we just released the 6th vintage of Long Dai 2022 last year in November. So before that, I arrived in China in 1998. I started in Beijing where I studied Chinese for 2 years, and I had the chance to participate to kind of MBA between the European Commission and the Chinese government for about the Chinese culture, Chinese language, Chinese politics, and that helped me to better understand the Chinese culture. So it was quite early. Could you imagine in 1998 how was Beijing and China? And had the chance to see the evolution of the country over the last almost 30 years. And I went back to France and for family reason, and I came back in 2005 because I wanted to come back to China. I was working in France, had my apartment, my car, etc. But I told myself that I had to go back. It would be the last chance. And I came back in 2005, and I had a great opportunity to work for one of the biggest wine suppliers in China, called Summergate. And this is how I started my career in the wine business. So I stayed 6 years at Summergate and had different roles from sales to sales manager and sales director of Southern China between 2011 and 2013. And it was a great experience in terms of knowledge of the Chinese markets and to master the basis of the different channels, how works distribution in China. And at the time, in the year 2000, it was a bit crazy because we were doing like 100% of growth every year. It was just the start of the imported Chinese or imported wines on the Chinese market, so great experience in terms of distribution. And then I wanted to go on the brand side, so I went to Hong Kong from Guangzhou. I was based in Guangzhou at the time, and I went to Hong Kong and to work for Négociant, which I did for 2 years in charge of the Greater China market. And I also represented a brand, a premium spirit brand company, and in charge of the Asian market for 3 years. And after that, this experience, a bit more global, I had a good friend working for DBR Lafite, based in Hong Kong, and he talked to me about this opportunity of this incredible estate located in Penglai, Shandong province, and they would need someone like me, understanding the Chinese culture, and to be a bridge between the French part and the Chinese part, and to help them to open the winery as soon as possible. Why as soon as possible? Because the project started in 2008. Mm-hmm. And from negotiating with the government to secure all the land that the project needed for the coming decades, to building the winery and the beautiful villa that you have visited, I believe, it took a long time. Of course, the most important thing being from 2011 to plant the first plots of Cabernet Sauvignon and making the first cuvée of Long Dai. What wasn't Long Dai at the time, but of our wine. So it took a long time, mm-hmm. and this is the spirit was to produce a great one of China, a great one of Shandong, at least. And this is what happened the 19th of September 2019, when we opened the gate of the winery, and when Baron Eric de Rothschild and Saskia de Rothschild came to China and revealed for the first time the new estate of the family, which was in Panlai in China, and revealing the new name, the name Domaine de Long Dai to the world. So that was quite incredible. Could you imagine when the family decided, when Baron Eric de Rothschild decided in 2008 to build their new winery, their new project from scratch in China, in Panlai? That was a bit crazy. What was the world of Chinese wine at the time in China? It was almost nothing. Yeah. Almost nothing, apart from industrial wine, from the big brands you know maybe. But the concept of terroir, and to produce a wine that you make from your own grape, respecting the local culture and the local terroir, to reveal what is the essence of this place, was quite new in China at the time. So it was a very bold move, and I believe it was the same pioneer spirit that inspired the family when they went to Chile in the 90s, or in Argentina, to produce a great farm from those places as well, in Colchagua or in Mendoza. So I think they were inspired by the same kind of the sense of curiosity and taking the risk to reveal a new terroir. And also producing great wines for 150 years, from Château Lafite in 1868, when James de Rothschild acquired Château Lafite, to now. And all the estates acquired from the 60s, from Duhart Milon to Château l'Évangile to Château Rieux-Sec, all this experience and the know-how accumulated all over these years help us to build this project. Mm-hmm. So it's really a kind of, as in Chinese, 缘分, destiny between the family and that place, an encounter between a long history of making great wines, and a new terroir. And this is Long Dai. This is the project of Long Dai, which is not a project anymore, but at the time, that was the spirit. And we're here now, and we just released the 6th vintage of Long Dai and the 5th vintage of Rouet, our second wine.
Nice. Thank you very much for this introduction. It's super interesting. We will deep dive into some points of it, but just before that, so you said you arrived in Beijing in 1998 on your side.
Yes.
To study Chinese culture. Was it already in the spirit of working in the wine industry, or you were doing something completely different?
No, not at all. Because I just graduated from France.
Okay.
And from I was very little, I always wanted to go to Asia.
Okay.
So what happened is that after graduation, after military service at the time. I was one of the last incorporated in the military service in France. I went to Chinese embassy in Paris and asked them to have a list of universities that can accept foreigners to study Chinese. And they gave me maybe 10 places, 10 universities all over China. Guangzhou, Hangzhou, Kunming, and Beijing. And the only one that answered me was Beijing. Beijing Wagui Daxue is Beijing Foreign Study University. So I took my bag, plane, visa, of course, and arrived there, and I started to study Chinese. And this is how it happened.
But must have been crazy to arrive in China in 1998.
I didn't know anything.
Yeah,
I didn't know anything. I learned by experience.
But maybe it's also a bit less shocking that it would be today. Because today, I feel if you are in France or in Europe, you have a vision of China that is maybe not the same of what you can live here. And what I mean is that like Europeans tend to have a vision of China that is kind of behind, less developed, less accessible, less everything. And then you arrive in China and it's just mind-blowing that you have this much development. I guess in 1998, it was more close to the cliche of China because it was less developed at that time. So maybe less shocking for you.
Yeah, so, yes. But again, I didn't know really the situation of the country. Of course, but at the time, we weren't so... we didn't have a criticized mind about China at the time. China wasn't developed. It was not a threat, It's been criticized only in the last 15 years. Before, I think the French who have a strong cultural mind in France. And I think China was a cultural country, like a long history and emperors of China, the last emperor and so on. And China was very, very poor at the time. So, of course, I think this is the case for a lot of countries when they consider other countries as underdeveloped. Of course, it was the case. But no, I think it was more a cultural approach at the time. And this is, I think, when China began to develop over, like, from the year 2000 to now, that I think the image of China changed a little bit. And now, again, it changed in the last 2-3 years. I was a bit surprised. Again, 6-7 years ago, China, for a lot of French or Westerners, were a country where we copy things and that's it. And I think now we see in the news in France, it changed a little bit. It's not the same, but very rapidly, surprisingly, very rapidly, which is a good thing. But the wake up maybe is a bit too late. We should have wakened 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
True, but that's a good thing in the wine industry for you, because then you can like exchange knowledge all around the world, I guess, with the different estates that you have.
It's totally different. We're producing a cultural product. We don't talk about technology. Of course, we need science and technology to produce a great wine. We need know-how, intelligence to produce a great wine, But it's before all an history of adapting to a context, understanding, respect, humility. A lot of humility. We don't arrive in a new place with 1,000 years of history with a mind that I will teach you everything. It's not absolutely not the case. And the family in Saskia, our president, has a lot of respect for the villagers, the culture, the understanding of what should be a great from Choshan Valley, from Shandong, and the time we should take to do it, to make it. And as you see when you visited Long Dai, we didn't build a Bordeaux chateau in the middle of the Chinese countryside. As a sign of respect for the Chinese culture, and I think this is natural to adapt to the essence of the local terroir. And we have this beautiful,
it's stunning,
grand hall, which is made with local techniques. We call it sun mortiego in Chinese. This is the all the wooden structure, which don't use any riddles or reeds or but it stands by itself.
Okay.
And it's a technique used in the Forbidden City or other great monuments of China. And the family decided to use that technique. It's very rare nowadays to have new buildings using this technique because it's very expensive and you need very special technicians and companies able to do that. So this is a sign also to understand the local culture and to prove and to say that we are making 100% wine from Chuoshan Valley, from Penglai. We don't try to imitate any style of wine. We don't try to imitate a wine from Bordeaux, which are our roots. We come from Bordeaux, only to produce the best of this terroir.
No, it's true that the estate is absolutely stunning, and when you look at it, it's like a modern version of a traditional architecture, and it's with like the different materials that you use, and it's really a nice place. I really enjoyed visiting it.
Thank you.
So then you said 2005, you're back in China, working for Summergate.
Mm-hmm.
So you decide to come back. So Summergate is one, I don't know if it's still the case, but it's one of the biggest wine players in China, at least at that time. Can you deep dive a bit on what were your responsibility? What was the Chinese wine markets also at that time? Because I guess it changed a lot compared to today, the local wine market.
Yeah, it changed a lot. So at the time, it was there was a demand for wine, especially for the premium on-trade. So in the rapid development market, you have all these 5-star hotel built all over China, and this international clientele who needed wines for hospitality, and those suppliers like Summergate or ASC or Torres at the time and others that disappeared now. They provided among the greatest wines, the greatest brands of the world, introduced them to the Chinese market. And my main work at the beginning was exactly that. I was in charge of the key account for the on-trades. So I was working like hotel groups like Shangri-La or Marriott or Hilton, Hyatt, etc., who opened their new outlets in China, and also development on the off-trade, retail, and then wholesale all over China. China is a big market, so you need some partners to help you distribute wine all over China. So we worked on different channels, but it's true that from the beginning it was the traction was from the on-trade market, the premium on-trade market. From there, it changed a lot. We had these international companies that took advantage of this rapid growth of the Chinese market, and then we had the Chinese actors coming in the year 2010. More and more players, smaller players, importing wine from all over the world. Some more specialized in one country. For example, importing wine from Australia, or wine from the US, or wine from Italy, etc. Or specialized on the channel. For example, specialized on on retail, or doing only distribution, etc. So a rapid changing market, closer and closer to the end consumer. So the route to market in the last 10 years tending to be shorter and shorter. And this is not even shorter because now the wineries from all over the world can send wines directly to a retailer, to online platform who has access directly to the end consumer. Before that, you had you send wines to the importer, and then you have tier 1, tier 2, retail, and consumer. So in between, you need a lot of margins to make all these people live. So I believe it's good for the Chinese market, it's good for the end consumer. The accessibility of great products, great wines from all over the world at reasonable price, which wasn't the case before. But at the same time, more competition. And as you know, in China, there is kind of an entrepreneur spirit. So you have a lot of little companies competing with these big companies and giving access to boutique wineries directly to Chinese wine lovers. And that brought a strong competition to these big players. So the market changed a lot. Some big players disappeared. Some have been purchased by bigger companies, especially by Chinese companies. So it's a question of adaptation to a very rapid change of the Chinese market. And I think this is the case for any kind of product in China. You could see that in the automobile industry.
Yeah, you see,
for example,
this a lot.
We talk a lot, but for the others. So for luxury industry as well.
A lot of local brands that are emerging. Yeah,
absolutely. So it's just a question of adapting to a new mode of distribution and give a better access to the end consumer. Never forget the end consumer. And respect the market, respect the Chinese consumer.
Plus this end consumer must have changed also between 2005 and today. Meaning that in 2005, like the taste were maybe more on just having wines.
Yes. I think wine is not a cultural product for the Chinese. Chinese people, they don't drink wine.
Yeah. They drink tea, but not
but they drink baijiu and beer, basically. A bit of huangqiu, but very little. Mostly in Zhejiang province. So wine is, you had wine, but industrial wine. Wine is a color. In Chinese, it's hongjiu. You don't even say hong putaojiu, which is red Chinese wine. You said hongjiu, red alcohol. So wine, alcohol has a color. You drink white, which is baijiu, or you drink hong, which is wine. So wine has been for a long time only red in China. So we didn't talk so much about Baiputaojiu, white wine, or even less rosé, or other kind of wines. It was red. That is changing now with the maturity with the Chinese consumers. After so many years, and Chinese consumers traveling all around the world, discovering also other estates all over the world, especially in big cities like Shanghai. They are open to other wines and to the diversity of the world of wine, because wine is before about diversity. So that's changing slowly. It's changing. But we have to understand that wine is not a cultural product. And we still need to make a lot of effort to explain what we do, to share this culture to the Chinese people. It's not only about the product. It's about art de vivre. Wine represents an art de vivre in French. I don't know if it's the same word in English. Yes. And I think this is it. Is that? And I think this is what Chinese people expect as well.
Let's keep maybe your Hong Kong experience, unfortunately, but as the time is moving, I will ask you questions about that, but on another episode. Let's go to Long Dai. So you start this Long Dai journey in 2019 on your side, but the project was going on since approximately 10 years at that point.
Yeah.
What's your, like, I guess in the hiring process, of course, you discuss with DBR, with Saskia, with Eric, and like a lot of other people, I guess. But I guess you also go to Long Dai to see what it looks like at that time. How, like, it must have been just like bricks and mortar everywhere, like plants growing. Long Dai is so it's close to a small village, beautiful but small village, kind of in the countryside of Yantai. So it's really different from what you can experience in Bordeaux or in more traditional places, from more long-standing wine tradition places.
Yeah.
So what's your first reaction when you land in Yantai and arrive at Long Dai?
What a mess. That was in 2018. 2018, April, I remember. And the project started in 2008. And yesterday we had a beautiful tasting, DBR Lafite tasting with our global commercial director, Antoine. And we had a Long Dai 22 and a Lafite 08. And on the Lafite 08, you have the number 8 in Chinese characters, the pa, the pa zi, pa. Why we put these 8 in Chinese characters on that vintage? Because it was the start of the project of in Penglai, what became Domaine de Long Dai after that. So that's also nice to see. If you have the chance to see a bottle of Lafite 08 red wine, you will see this red 8 on the bottle. Yeah. So no, because I arrived. It was a bit complicated to understand what was happening, and I was really concentrated on the objective to open the winery as soon as possible. We should have opened in 18, in fact.
Okay.
So it was impossible. So we informed the government that it would be the year after. They were really expecting, after so many years, and the name Lafite in Chinese and in China is quite big. It's a big name in the luxury world. Mm-hmm. I think even Lafite is more famous than Ferrari in China. Every farmer in China would know Lafite. It's quite particular in the history, but this is something else. But it was really expected. So we had to delay a year. So my really objective was to understand what was happening and to make everything, to put everything in power to launch the first cuvée of Long Dai.
You were living
the year
there?
After. I was living in Yantai.
Okay,
I was living in Yantai, so very close
very
to the winery.
Minutes,
you went there, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and your job was like calling suppliers, government,
getting all the license. Especially the firefighting in China is very tough to have.
Okay.
Firefighting, you don't do anything if you don't have the firefighting.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of relationship with government, with the different players involved in the construction of Long Dai, of the building, the estates. So and building a team, and we have a great team at Long Dai.
Because at that point it was like just you.
We were like maybe 7-8 people.
Okay.
Mostly technicians, mostly people working in the vineyard, because this is our main
asset,
main work, our main mission. But also admin, but mainly technical. And then we once we opened the winery, we developed a team taking care of hospitality. Mm-hmm. So more admin people, operations.
Need to train them on the history, I guess, as well, on how to present the wine.
Absolutely, and building also the team taking care of the vineyard. So we were the only one to offer like a real labor contract to local farmers, because we want the work to be done. We want the workers to to be loyal, to ensure the best quality of our wine and to obtain the best grape possible. We implemented a system that like real working contract to make them faithful to the brand, faithful to the winery. And we have now people,
stable workforce.
So workers, we have people who started in 18 who are still here working with us. And that's also integration of the local culture into Long Dai. And it's a win-win partnership. We use their land. They agreed to give us their land, or to land, because we cannot own the land in China. And in return, we train them, we make them professional of viticulture. And we consider our vineyard worker the same way as the other employees in the company.
And it's it's very interesting place when you see that, because they have a long-standing tradition of agriculture in the province. They are doing apples in the province. They have these beautiful apples that they wrap individually in every piece. So I guess they had this mindset of taking care of the fruits and taking care of the plant.
Absolutely. This is a very right point, because why Baron Eric chose that place at the time?
That was my next question, so that's perfect.
Yeah, okay. So, and this is part of the answer. It's true that Shandong, especially the Shandong Peninsula, Yantai, Penglai, Weihai, places around where they have a strong culture of growing fruit orchard, apple. Still, I believe the most famous fruit of Yantai. Still, we say Yantai Pingguo. I think it's known all over China. Pear, peach, cerise. Cherries. So in fact, this is the same kind of fruit that we have in France. We are almost on the same latitude, the same climate. Latitude a bit southern France, but the same climate. You know, northern climate, temperate climate, not too far from the ocean. One of the reasons too why we chose that, I believe, is the only coastal appellation of China. Penglai, Yantai, Penglai. Most of the appellations, like major appellations of China, are continental. Hebei, Ningxia, Shanxi, Xinjiang, Yunnan, altitude wines. And we are the only renowned coastal appellation of China. And Bordeaux, Pauillac is very close to the seashore.
Yeah.
So in order to produce the kind of wine we like at DBR Lafite, what we like is more like refined, elegant, balance. We love balance. Saskia talks a lot about balance in the wine, and balance is also an art de vivre, to find balance in life. And in many aspects, wine represents life as well. The balanced wine is extraordinary. The balance between different grape varietals, the balance between the fruits and the oak, etc.
Balance in texture, acidity.
Absolutely, between acidity. So this is the king word for us. And I think that place, Penglai, especially that little valley, Qiushan Valley, could help us produce the style of wine we wanted. Elegance, balance. It's not about like big wines, So it's a temperate climate. We have hot summer that help us have a good maturity of our grapes, but not too hot neither, like in France, that don't overripe the grape, and we have this terroir system, I think. in Jioshan, thousands of terraces. Only at Long Dai, we have more than 600 terraces. And this is also an heritage from the local farmers all the time. It was apple orchard before that we replaced step by step by vine. And we respect that. If the farmers did that for so many times, for all long centuries, all the time, it had its reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And we kept that. And it gives our wine a lot of complexity because each terrace produce a different grape, different vigor of vines that will produce a different taste of wine at the end. So it's a very meticulous, very precise viticulture. Each terrace is considered as by itself. And when we start harvesting, from early September to end of October, the technical team will go 2 to 3 times on each terrace to taste the grapes and to find out when is the best time to harvest that specific terrace. Everything is made by hand. So we're talking about the haute couture of wine.
Wine making, yeah.
Of wine, yeah.
And sorry, I lost my question, but it was a super nice one. I was more passionate into what you were saying than on my next question. How do you so you told this was very interesting, the part on terrace, because I guess it's part of how did you identify the terroirs that you have. Like you arrive so in 2019 it's already planted with vines at that time.
Yeah, we started to plant in 2011.
Okay, so the team already identified the terroirs before?
Absolutely.
And they were relying on the farmers, or how
absolutely,
did they?
Because the project started in 2008.
Okay.
So the technical team and Olivier Trégoat, who is our current global technical director for DBR, for the group, was involved very early, in the early stage of the project. And with Baron Eric and the team at the time, he chose the best because we were not so many people at the time on the valley, and he chose the best plot for the future Long Dai. And from there, you need to planify, you need to choose the varietals, you need to dig a lot of holes into
to know
to analyze the soil structure, a lot of pits to analyze the soil structure. And Olivier is a specialist in geology and in pedology. So hundreds of pits have been made because each terrace, the depth of the soil structure is completely different. So we need to pay a lot of attention to that in order to choose the right rootstock and the right varietal.
Makes sense. When we talked about your experience at Summergate, you told that one of the main driver of wine demand was the openings of hotels and hospitality, especially in China at that time. If we talk about Chinese wine distribution, so for now, what we have witnessed is that Chinese wines are mostly consumed in China, and it's actually difficult to find Chinese wines in other places we've been to so far. But do you think that first that it will change, that we'll find Chinese wines in around the world, and then do you think that one of the driver of this change could be the adaptation of hospitality around the world to this Chinese demand and to like Chinese people just traveling and wanting to have also their own wine when they travel? Like one of the factors is that, yeah, there are French going to China for business. They need to have their Lafite at dinner. Do you think that it would be the other way around in the next few years?
Interesting question. I think it's a bit the contrary. I was talking to a great sommelier the Sommelier da Vittorio, a very famous Italian restaurant in Shanghai, yesterday during that lunch, and we're talking about that. I asked him, who is consuming Chinese wine? Who is consuming Long Dai and Huyue in your restaurant? And the first answer he gave me, foreigners.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't look for Lafite, they look for Long Dai.
Mm-hmm.
The French, for example, the French, we love wine.
Yeah, 100%.
And we love to discover other wines.
Yeah.
And so when you arrive in a new area, you want to discover the local specialties. So in a restaurant, a lot of demand comes from people curious about Chinese wine. It's a very important question. As I told you, Chinese wine is not a cultural product in China. So we have a mission there. And they've been consuming imported wines for a long time. But we need to make them understand who we are, what we are doing, and why we chose that place, why we are able to produce great wines in China. This is not an obvious.
Mm-hmm.
There's no obvious answer. It's normal. It's normal. Even 10 years ago, Chinese wouldn't buy Chinese cars.
Yeah.
Now it's more than 50% of the sales. I believe we will follow the same trend. But we have this mission to explain, to give them confidence in fact, in their own wine, in Chinese wine. And that requires a lot of personal investment from wine professionals, patience, trainings, masterclasses. And this is what we are doing, And we're talking about sommeliers, and this is what they do in their outlets, in their restaurants, in their hotels, to explain what we are, what are Chinese wines, what is a wine from Penglai, what is a wine from Ningxia or from other places, and it's ongoing. It's ongoing. There is still some reluctance. You can talk to even some sommeliers or some consumers said, "Oh no, Chinese wine, never. I drink only Burgundy. I drink only Bordeaux wines, or I drink only wines from Napa." No. You still have, but that will change. It's changing, and I think, and I hope it will be coming in the coming years. And we are conscious of that. And when I talk to other wine professionals, to other Chinese wineries owners, they all make that effort. Take some time, but we will get there.
We have a restaurant like that opened quite recently in Hong Kong. It's difficult actually to find Chinese wines in Hong Kong. Not that much places serve them. But we dined in a restaurant recently, and they had a full Chinese wine menu. I guess they still have. I don't even think. I think they still have wines from France and other places, but they don't display it. It's like more if a customer.
Chinese restaurant, no?
Yeah, Chinese restaurant in Central. The name is Holy Fook.
Yeah, I've been there.
Holy Fook.
I was there in February.
Yeah.
To talk to the French. A French sommelier.
Yeah,
I know.
And actually, we were discussing with the sommelier there, and he told us that it was like when you looked at the table around us, everyone was ordering a bottle of Chinese wines, and it was like, and he had an amazing time. He was like just explaining the wines, where it come from. They had like plenty of things on the menu, and I think it's like really working well for them to have this Chinese wine menu, because it's mainly a restaurant for Westerners, for foreigners. And so they want to discover this local wine culture. They want to have the good wine with the plates they order. So I guess it's
the black sheep group.
Black sheep group, massive group.
Great team
in Hong Kong.
Great team, and they did the fantastic work. But that happened not by accident, not because people were asking, because they were proposing.
Exactly.
And the team told me it wasn't easy at the beginning to convince them about Chinese wine. They said, "Let's try. I offer you a glass." "Oh, yeah, it's fantastic. Oh, please have a bottle." So it's through an effort of the whole chain, from us producing the best wine we can where we are, to the sommelier who can explain it, and also through all the trainings we make all around China and also abroad in Asia. By the way, we work very well in Hong Kong, Macau, Singapore, Japan. And we feel a good vibe. People are very curious, and it happens that we make some comparative testing with other wines of our group of DBR Lafite, with our great chateau of Bordeaux. And people, they like to compare and, what is the best?
Mm-hmm.
And we are very proud to stand up all along Lafite and Château l'Évangile and du Armillon at the same level of quality. It's just we are bringing something different, something unique, coming from a different place, a unique place. And people are so happy to discover this Long Dai or Rouet, And, we will keep on doing those efforts, and people will enjoy.
Yeah, I hope so. And I hope we're going to contribute to this as well with these podcast interviews that we do and with what we prepare on Chinese wines as well. But yeah, I really think it's a trend that will unlock more and more opportunities for Chinese wines in the next 10 years. I think it's the right place to be, I hope. We'll see.
Absolutely.
Charles, thank you very much for this interview. It was an amazing discussion. We are a bit past our time, so sorry for that.
No problem.
I have 3 last questions. The first one is, do you have a book recommendation for me?
Yes. So you asked me the question. I think a great book, fantastic book that Saskia, I can send you the reference. Saskia made when she took over the control of DBR, and she wanted to explain the story of Lafite. And she gathered all these old pictures and stories over centuries up to now. And this book was awarded also the best wine book by the Gourmet Awards. I believe it was in 2022.
Is it in the entrance of
Absolutely.
But when we visited, I sat so in the entrance of Long Dai, you have like this little table and little chair.
Yes.
And so I was sitting there and just going through the book, and I was like, damn, that's an amazing book, because you have like letters from Robert Parker saying, sorry, I can't attend your tasting, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
A lot of archives. Yeah, very nice book. I will put the link in the description.
Yeah.
I will try to find one for me as well. It's a good point. I'm writing that. Do you have a recent wine tasting that you loved? Something in your recent memory that you would recommend?
Recently?
Yeah, your last coup de cœur, your last...
Recently, last week, Peninsula, Shanghai. Great dinner with the YPO Panasia. And we have a beautiful lineup of Long Dai, Rouet, Lafite, Caruade. And we had Long Dai Rouet 19, one of the first vintages of Long Dai. Lafite Caruade 19, same vintage. And beautiful Lafite 98 and Lafite 05. It was incredible tasting.
You have
again, East meets West, and 80 people, very like YPO people, wine lovers, and they had a great time.
You have a very difficult job, Charles.
Very difficult. Very, very difficult. This is the good part of the job.
Yeah, this is the good part. There are plenty of other things. Thanks. And who is the next person I should interview?
There's a great guy also doing great things in China. A friend of mine, Bertrand Christo, who has a lovely estate in Yunnan province, one of the first estates in Yunnan, called Xiaoling. Also, this is one of the estates we exchange with. Service people and French. Been in China for more than me, like 40 years, probably the 80s. Very nice person, and doing a very, very nice wine from Yunnan. So that could be a good choice.
100%.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Count on me to try to do this interview in the future. Thank you very much, Charles, for sharing this story of yours and sharing the story of Long Dai as well. It was really nice to have this perspective. If you guys like this interview, don't forget to share it, like it, subscribe. Try to find a bottle of Long Dai. Come to China and visit Long Dai and
You're welcome.
The Shandong province.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place to go and a lot of things to discover there. So it's not that far from Shanghai, actually. If you land in Shanghai,
absolutely
2-hour plane, something like
1.5 hour, and then we're close to the airport. So
and then
easy trip.
Super easy and very good place. Thanks again, Charles.
Thank you, Antoine.
And
thank you very much. See you soon.
Ok, cool. Merci, Charles.
Ça a été?
C'est vrai, carrément, c'était cool.